like to talk a little bit today about moving the lathe into your studios and into position. I found that the best way to move the lathe around is on pipes. They could be like this black pipe, or it could be electrical conduit. Any size, as long as it's higher than the feet are. And all you would do is lean the lathe back and slip the pipes underneath in this area, and you can slide it, you can roll it on the pipes. It's really a great way to move it. If you have to go through doors, you'll go through a 36-inch door with only removing the water catcher. If your door is, say, a 32-inch door, then we'll have to undo a bolt. Let's just run through that right now. So the water catcher is simple to take off. You just need the wrench. And there's wires that hook to the stop button as well as the light that are hooked to the electrical box. So someone else will have to carry this along while you're moving the lathe. So it's simple to take it off. I'll just set it up here for now. So in its lowest position, there, it's counterweight heavy right now because we have the water catcher off. But at its lowest position, you can clear a 36-inch door. If it's a smaller door you're going through, I'll just lock this down again. You'll have to remove these bolts, this nut and bolt, so you can move it down a little further. Careful not to drop them. Let's set that aside for a second. The lathe, and push it down. You only need to go as far down with the motor as to clear the foot, about there. And you're going to want to tighten this one up quite well. You don't want to over tighten, but it needs to be pretty tight so the lathe doesn't move when you're moving it into position. Now at this, it's going to be a little floppy maybe at this without this bolt in, so it's important to get the lathe over to your doorway before you take this out. And then however you're moving it around, either on pipes to go through, or you can also put a furniture moving dolly on the one side and move it that way. Or another way, of course, is to use a strap here and a forklift, if you're lucky enough to have one. Okay, so this will fit to a 36-inch door or a 32-inch door in this position or the standard position. So we'll put it back to normal position, and then we'll go over the new features. Take this off. So we just put the back in. Tighten it up. Okay, and then the water catcher goes back on. Make sure I have the wrench. Yep. Just like so. Okay, so that's moving the lathe. Now let's talk about the new features. So I wanted to add a light, as well as behind the wheel it has a little bit of water that shoots up, and I thought this new arrangement over the water catcher would take care of that, and it has. It's totally movable. I got a little wedge. You can move the little shield up and down or wherever it needs to be. Also, you can move it this way, and there's a pin to come in and out, which is a good option. And it's got a little light. We'll just power up the machine now. You know the power is on because of the blue light on the box. And we'll just turn the light on. So there's a little light. It works really well. It's all watertight, so you don't have to worry about anything. And to run the lathe, we have a run stop button. So let's push that. Now we're going at 588 RPM. You can go faster, 1500. Goes all the way up to 2400. And we can stop the lathe there. Start it. It's nice that it stops slowly and starts slowly. And we also have an emergency stop button. So if you run into a problem, this just hit the plunger. It shuts the power off to the whole system, including the light. And you'll have a LU, low voltage, a low voltage code, and that's cleared. So now you can start the machine again. So just twist the little stop button, and it comes right back up again. So, but this button should only be used to turn the machine off, say at the end of the night, and on again in the morning, or for emergency. So if you're just working the machine regularly, you'll want to use the run stop button. Okay, and of course the water system's changed a tiny bit. No longer using the lock line. I think this is a better way to deliver the water. You have a tightening bolt and two tightening bolts. Generally, people I find will just have this so it's just snug on the washers. So you just can't wiggle it so that the machine will move freely but still be snug. And then they'll just use the locking bolt right here to move the height up and down. So you move it up and then just lock it in. It just doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. Snug is good, so it doesn't move. You just hang your wrench back up there. Also, I wanted to talk about mounting the wheels. So the lathe comes with a series of washers. You just use the according washers to whatever you're mounting. So I'm going to mount a wheel. I'm going to mount it right on the end. I think we'll just use two smaller ones. These are precision washers, so it's important to keep the washers clean, and it's important along the edges to make sure that the surfaces are clean as well as your wheels. If there's any dents on your wheels, it's a good idea to just sand those off. And then just these two washers together, or a washer and let's say a smaller washer. And then all it is I got a little copper coat on the stainless steel cap screw. It's good to keep a little thread lubricant in there. This will be on and off a lot, so And also, I have a long one, so you could put really long wheels. Like you could put this all the way out to there. So this could be right out like that. You could have a really thick wheel. If it's too time consuming, you can just, and you're only using smaller wheels, you can just get a smaller one of these. A shorter one, I mean, sorry. It's 3/8. And then just a light tighten. Some of these plastic wheels are a little undersized. Like the tolerances on the hole on these is quite liberal. So it could be well over an inch or well under an inch. So if you happen to get a wheel stuck on here, the best thing to get it off with is a 3-jaw puller. The center hole where you put the 3/8 cap screw in, just use that as a center, and then you just hook the jaws on. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but basically you just pull the wheel off of the spindle. It's important not to bang on the back side of your wheel and hit any of this stainless steel. It's a little soft and it'll mark. And the most important part is that in order to get this as small as possible, I used a retaining compound to keep the bearing and the bearing cap and seal in place. So it can't handle any loads or stress loads this way. So it's important not to pound your wheels off if they get stuck. It's best to use the puller. Okay, I just wanted to talk a little bit about maintenance of the lathe. There's a total of 4 grease nipples. There's one there, one on the back over here, and one on each of the legs. Just a tiny bit of grease is good, like a squirt. It's better to put grease in often and a little bit than a lot once in a while. The grease has a tendency to get thick and sticky, so it's best to keep a good flow of grease coming through. Anything that shows up in a crack you can just wipe off. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.